Ciao comrades, welcome, pleasure. Today we have a video about the most played PS Vita ports. I mean unofficial homebrew ports, cause that's what we do usually on this channel, unofficial stuff. And I also have a fellow YouTuber here to help me out, Framerater. So let's get into it. So the premise of this video is very simple. We have picked 5 Vita ports each that we play the most, and Framerater is starting with the first one.
Hello PS Vita comrades! My name is Framerater. I cover lots of custom retro content on my channel, which you can check out if you're interested, but enough of that. Let's talk about some awesome homebrew ports for PS Vita. Nowadays I can play almost all my favorite games on Vita, which I couldn't even imagine years ago. Not every port is made equal, but nonetheless, today I'll be showing off 5 of them that are absolutely worth your time. The first port to show is Serious Sam by FGS FDS FGS. I have a full video review of Release 1 on my channel, but now there's a second release that introduces some fixes and new features. Before I get to that, I should explain that Serious Sam is a 2001 FPS inspired by retro shooters like Doom and Quake. It's fast-paced and, unlike its competitors of the time, takes place in huge open environments. Enemies spawn in waves and often with overwhelming numbers. It can be challenging, but once you've adapted to the mechanics, you'll have a great time. Serious Sam released in 2 parts, the first and second encounters, both of which can be installed on PS Vita. You might notice the assets being switched every other video clip. I do have my own custom packages that I like to swap between. None of these would be included with the port though, you have to compile them yourself. Performance on the Vita is usually solid, with the majority of levels running at a consistent frame rate. Some levels in the second encounter do struggle during the most intense fights, but I wouldn't say it's much worse than the official 2002 Xbox port. You can load custom maps created by the community quite easily, although actually finding them online can be a challenge. The latest version 2 update for this port introduces a digital keyboard for text entry, which is useful for naming your saves or entering cheat codes. Now the game uses buffer saves, so saving your game takes much less time than before. Previously, you'd be waiting upwards of 10 seconds. For the last version, in-menu selectable mods were incompatible and would crash the game. But now you can switch no problem. However, mods that use custom code aren't gonna work. That said, I was able to load the Serious Sam Alpha mod and play through most of its levels. Only a handful of them use custom code, which would force you back to the menu should you try to load them. Why am I talking about this one mod so much? Well, it's pretty much a separate game altogether, and I think it's a cool little extra for people to try.
I am starting with the Postal. I wouldn't say this game is crazy good, neither it has stunning graphics. What it has though is crazy good over-the-top gameplay. Plus, every time I boot it up, it sends me into the zone. As soon as I hear the iconic intro, I'm locked in. Nothing bothers me, I'm fully ready to kick some ass. On the Vita, it plays like a twin-stick shooter. You're running around and killing everyone, which is not easy at all, cause there are many crazy guys trying to kill you. The Vita port is based on the open source Postal, that means it supports a wide screen, as well as plenty of other useful features like settings, joystick sensitivity. The difficulty is pretty hardcore. You can freely save inside the level, so you can try multiple times, or you can just lower the difficulty. Or you can even use cheats if you're into them. And I'm really into them, at least in this case. They were just recently implemented by Rin and they are so much fun. All weapons, God mode and plenty other cheats. You just tap the screen and type in the desired cheat. I'm sure many of you know 3D Postal, but 2D isometric Postal is where it all started. And if this feels interesting, feel free to check it out.
Super Crate Box, or Super Crate Mod by Jeff Rules 0, is a homebrew modification of an official port that greatly expands on its available content. The objective is to collect as many crates as you can without being touched by the many spawning monsters. If a monster reaches the bottom of the stage, it returns at the top in a state of rage, so ideally you want to prevent them from getting that far. Each crate holds a weapon and you're forced to use that weapon until you pick up another crate, where the cycle repeats. Every weapon has some kind of disadvantage, meaning you'll have to constantly adapt with the ongoing combat. I won't bother to explain them all, but some examples would be a disc gun that can slice you in half, or a flamethrower leaving trails of flames that cause the player to hop infinitely. While the goal of the game is essentially to see how far you can get, there are so many unlocks to achieve that makes revisiting it feel worthwhile. As you play and unlock more content, it will affect the game itself, occasionally introducing new weapons that the player will need to consider for the main game. There are also bonus modes to unlock like SFMT, which spawns in significantly more enemies, or Ambush mode, where enemies spawn in anywhere, kind of like Serious Sam. Super Crate mod introduces a scrap challenge mode, which is pretty simple and exactly as it sounds. Appreciated nonetheless, as the main game only has 3 maps to choose from, which is a very common criticism for this one. Super Crate Box is an addictive game that I would recommend to anyone, especially this custom version. Now if only we had Super Hexagon on Vita, then all my early 2010s port dreams would come true.
My second pick is a Doom RPG, or Doom RPG 2, or Wolfenstein RPG. I'm mentioning all 3 of them because they all share the same mechanics, but they have different weapons, stories and enemies. But overall I think all 3 are really worth it. I'm not a huge fan of turn-based RPGs, but there is something different about the Doom setting and the Doom monsters and the chainsaws that really pulls me in. I played the first one a lot on my old Sony Ericsson, and to be able to play it on the Vita, all 3 of them, feels great. I haven't found myself reading through the story, which is not common for me at all. Recently all of these were also ported to the Nintendo Switch. I have installed them, I was recording the footage and I just couldn't stop playing it. I've been playing Wolfenstein RPG for like an hour straight. I think this is the one with the best graphics. However, graphics don't mean much in here. It's all about the gameplay, which is rock solid in all 3 titles, with physical Vita buttons supported and with very solid frame rate. Like always, if you wanna install any of these, your Vita needs to be hacked, you need to get the game files and you need to follow setup instructions. I will include some official release links in the description down below, and as always, if you're facing any issues, feel free to check the Discord. Now we have a sponsored part and we are taking a look at this USB dongle. It is made by the brand EIOT Club and it serves basically as a broadband for your laptop, phone or tablet. Inside the package there is the manual, USB dongle and USB-A to USB-C adapter. Here is a quick look at the manual. Here are all the product specifications. It works with Windows 10 and later, Android 12 and later, iOS 18, Linux and macOS Sequoia. So this is the USB dongle, there is a USB, there is no battery inside, so you need to plug it into the device for it to work. We can see a SIM card in here, it's already pre-installed inside, but for it to work we need to top it up first. You can top it up online. With this package there is a 1 GB for free trial plan, valid 1 day only. I already logged in to the website and there is a 1 GB available, so let's try it out. I will switch on my data. I will connect it to my phone. Now I'm gonna turn on Wi-Fi. There is a green light, so we should be able to find it. I think this is it. Enter password. Password is good life. Good life. Now I'm connecting. It's blinking really fast. In the notifications I can see that it shows as Ethernet cable connected. It's still trying to connect, so not sure about that. Okay, I will try to connect it to my laptop. Okay, I'm connected now, not sure what it was about, but it should work also connected to the phone, or if you connect it like to the brick like this. Now it's connected to my laptop. Looks like it's working. Here I'm on my website with all the bounties. We can do a quick speed test of the broadband. How fast is it? But this is clearly gonna be depending heavily on whereabout in the world you are. These are the results. I can try the same thing with my data plan, and these are the data results. So who is this for? I think this is mostly for the people who are traveling abroad. For example, recently I was in Turkey and the roaming was crazy expensive. So maybe to have this as an internet alternative would be much cheaper. Here are all the plans that they offer. Here I'm checking these shared plans. If you are interested in it, a link for it is down below. Feel free to check it out. And now let's get back to Vita stuff.
Sonic 3 Air, or Angel Island Revisited, was created by EIOT and ported to PS Vita by M-K, GL33NT Wine, and the famous Rinnegetamente. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles is one of the best games on Sega Genesis, and with Air it's been adapted for widescreen using a custom-built emulator that provides various other quality of life tweaks. I probably don't need to explain what this game is, right? You all know Sonic. Air has every feature from the original game, with some new additions that you can explore within its menus. Now, as great as Sonic 3 is, it was released in a very strange way, with 2 parts making up the full game. There are some differences between the 2 parts, which you can now completely customize to your liking. Achievements are also present, which contribute to cool unlockable modes, like playing as Knuckles with Tails by your side. Originally, this would only be possible with Sonic. Sonic 3 Air is compatible with mods, even here on Vita. Most of what's available are cosmetic changes and various community tweaks, but it's still very cool to check out if you've run through the vanilla game enough times. One thing you could do on the old Sega Genesis is plug in a second controller to fly around with Tails. You won't need it here, just look up and press jump. Tails will start flying, then Sonic can jump and hold on to control his ascension. It's a very cool feature that lets you further explore the environment. The performance here on Vita probably isn't going to wow you, especially in the menus where it frequently dips as low as 15 frames per second. It's no less responsive during these moments, thankfully, but not a great look. The main game's frame rate is all over the place, frankly, as I'm seeing by the counter, but it usually sticks at 60, sometimes going as low as 30. Honestly, while this sounds bad, I never really noticed it, and I've already done a 100% run of the game. Frame rates definitely suffer in special stages, which usually run around 25 frames, but occasionally drops to 20. It's not great, but still very playable. If what I've said is steering you away from the port, I think you should give it a try yourself first to make that judgment. It's not a 10 out of 10 for performance, no, but absolutely good enough.
Max Payne Mobile is third one for me. I used to not just play this game, but also look at how it's being played by my brother. And I did really enjoy it. We only had one PC back in the day, and this was a very common occurrence, even with my friends. People were looking at other people as they played the game. Wild times, I know, but it was still fun, even just to look at it and discuss it. Go there, check that, let's try this, and things like that. I remember it was around the time when the first Matrix movie came out. Everyone was blown away by that bullet time feature, and to have it available in the game, like the character can do it anytime when I press the button, that felt really amazing. When the Vita port was released, I was very impressed and eager to try it out. I did, and it felt again amazing, even playing it alone. I poured some hours into it, I didn't beat it, but I very enjoyed my time spent with it. On the Vita it plays okay, you don't need many buttons to enjoy it properly, just joysticks and triggers. On top of that, PG Team also released the 10th anniversary mod for this port, which I've also installed because it has a lot of useful features that I can truly appreciate.
This is Assassin's Creed Altairs Chronicles. It was released as a mobile game, and also on the Nintendo DS, which is where I first completed it many years ago. This was ported to PS Vita by, once again, Rinnegetamente. To be honest, I just installed this one for the video, but was excited to try it again after all these years. I would describe this game as a light version of the original Assassin's Creed console game, although someone on Reddit compared it with Prince of Persia and Sonic the Hedgehog. Pretty funny to think about, but I understand where they're coming from. It is, after all, a very linear game. You really just follow a path of orbs. In this game you play as an assassin who's searching for an artifact. The story's a bit hard to follow at times, and admittedly the game does have a bit of a cheesy feeling overall, but it's quite charming to watch unfold nonetheless.
If you want me to help you walk on firm ground again... Anything, heights! Help me!
There are a few issues with the port like analog stick controls, which occasionally stop working correctly, but the D-pad works just fine regardless. Sometimes the dialogue can overlap and that can be distracting, but it's not invasive enough to be a big issue. Otherwise, it plays like an official port, which surprised me. Granted, I am coming from the days of PSP ports, where the ports being playable to any extent was just short of a miracle. Very excited to keep playing this one.
I wasn't sure what game to talk about next because I played a lot of ports, so instead I picked a category of games. Games like Battlefront Bad Company, Modern Combat, Conduit. These all are like old school first-person shooters. I've played them a lot. Not sure about which one out of them I played the most, therefore I'm including them all. Even with the recent release of Modern Combat 1 Sandstorm, I've seen many people saying this is the weakest one, but surprisingly, the day when I installed it I played it for like 2 hours, and I loved every bit of it. I think I like them because I'm a big fan of Nova and all of these are very similar to it. If I should recommend one to definitely try out, it would be Conduit HD, mostly because there are also alien weapons alongside regular AK-47s.
Doom 64EX is my last port for the day, established by Kaiser and ported to Vita by Renegade. I didn't know about this port's existence until recently, but it's a solid one, and I've enjoyed blasting demons in what is an excellent standalone Doom game. I'm assuming you already know enough about Doom, so I don't need to explain it, but maybe you're unfamiliar with this Doom? It was released on the Nintendo 64, and ever since it's come to a few other platforms. Doom 64EX is a faithful recreation using the Doom 3D source port. How faithful is it? Well, I'm not an expert, but it seems identical to me. Doom 64 has a remarkable atmosphere that makes it more reminiscent of a horror game than an action shooter like the DOS originals. Everything from the graphics to sound effects are distinctly unsettling. Some have reported the game being a bit too dark, but thankfully you can adjust the brightness and gamma in the options, which does help. One issue I noticed is that keycard doors can flicker. There's also occasional stuttering in the audio, but it's nothing major. The frame rate does fluctuate from time to time, which I will admit isn't great, however it wasn't that common. Overall, this is still a great port, and it's worth a visit whether you're a returning Doom fan, or you simply enjoy old school FPS games.
Last on the list for me is a Kero Blaster. It might seem like a silly 2D action platformer, but it's so much more than that. It is a game crafted to perfection, with the style, with the story, with the shooting, with all the other mechanics. Maybe just difficulty is a bit hardcore, but that is often the case with these retro-inspired modern shooters. This game is not too long, but it's gonna make you memorize every little detail until you get it exactly right, and you finish the level successfully. It came from the creators of the Cave story. Vita port runs great, and there was even a Pink Heaven and Pink Hour ported. These are like spin-off games, kinda like DLCs. They are all perfectly playable and enjoyable with the great Vita D-pad. If you should try at least one game out of my list, it should definitely be this one. I think everyone is gonna enjoy it. Postal and Doom RPG are not bad, but it's mostly about nostalgia for me, and I feel like many people have already tried Max Payne and Modern Combat. But I suspect not a lot of people knows about Kero Blaster. It's like a little hidden gem for you. Enjoy!
The PS Vita's homebrew scene is strong in 2026 with a great catalog of ports for people to try. It's exactly what I wanted to see out of the PSP some 15 plus years ago. One thing I love about playing PS Vita homebrew ports is that there's obviously not too many of them, so the community is more or less forced to stick with a limited library. It gives us the opportunity to play some excellent games that we may not have otherwise considered. That might not always be the case though, as the scene continues to evolve, so enjoy this environment while it lasts. I would like to thank Zealous Chuck for the opportunity to showcase these ports on his channel. I myself watch all of his videos to keep up to date with the scene, and it's an honor to be part of one myself. Thanks for watching, everyone! Let's keep the PS Vita alive!
Yeah, right, you heard it. Viva la Vita! I think we can leave it at that. So, in the end, huge thanks to Framerater for being part of this video. I did really enjoy this collaboration. It was my first ever, so I didn't exactly know what to expect, but in the end it was a pleasant experience. What do you think about it? I'm a regular viewer of his. He is a big fan of series Sam and Rayman. I also like the laid-back style of his videos. He's not acting like someone else. He does really understand and enjoys what he talks about. So feel free to check out this channel if you haven't already. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment, subscribe, join. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to all of my Patreons and joiners for their support. It's greatly appreciated. And I will see you in the next one. Peace. Čo je to za kravinu, na smiech treba príčinu, my tu problém zvládneme, príčinu si nájdeme. Čo je to za kravinu, že na smiech treba príčinu, my ten problém zvládneme, príčinu si nájdeme. O morie postaráme. Aj, aj, jo.